I believe inflation is not actually as high as the reports seem to suggest.
This video is for educational purposes only. It should not be considered investment, legal, or tax advice. It is not an offer to buy or sell any security. Past performance does not indicate future results. Investing is risky.
So we can see, 0.4%. In September, last month, it was up 0.6%. So by these accounts, it seems to suggest that inflation is not only much higher than the Fed's long-term target of 2%, but it's actually starting to increase a little bit more. So you can see in the press release, it says that shelter was the largest contributor to all the monthly items increase, accounting for over half of the increase. So the way the Bureau of Labor Statistics calculates the shelter prices, they use a combination of different factors, but mostly they're surveys. And so these surveys can end up being extremely delayed. So according to the CPI shelter measurement year over year, the cost of shelter is up 7.15%. Now we have all kinds of real-time data sources like Zillow, for example. If you look at the actual observed price, according to Zillow, we see that the year-over-year increase is now down to 3.2%. So what would happen if we took this 3.2% and replaced the 7.2% with these more real-time numbers? So one thing to point out here whenever we're talking about inflation is that your inflation that you're experiencing in life is going to be vastly different from the CPI. This is just a generic basket of goods that the government believes is reflective of the average household. So it says that 13.38% of a average household's budget is to food. And that is split up between 8.5% food at home and then 4.8% food away from home. So if you're someone that mostly is eating food at home, never out to eat, you're going to have much different inflation than someone who eats out a lot. So for example, the food away from home is up 6% year over year, but the food at home is only up 2.4%. So a heavy eater out is going to be more in the 6% inflation range, whereas someone that more eats in is going to be in the 2.4% range. So shelter is 35% of the overall budget for most households, according to the government. That is 7.2% year over year. So what happens if we replace 35% of this basket with a more realistic number, which is actually 3.2? Well, if we do that, we can just simply take 35% of the overall index, and then we just take 7.2%, which is the inflation that the government is reporting, minus 3.2%, which is what Zillow suggests inflation actually is. So basically 0.35 times 4. That means that the annualized numbers are probably overstated by about 1.4%. So if we take the actual estimate of 3.7% minus 1.4%, it comes up with an actual more realistic inflation of just 2.3%. And based on that, I think the Fed should not increase rates anymore. If anything, I think they should start to cut them very soon, as we've started to see some cracks forming in the economic foundation. I think the Fed's continued pedal to the metal, raising rates, trying to stomp inflation is basically kind of a straw man. There's inflation because these shelter measurements are delayed, not necessarily that there is widespread inflation right now. I think most of that has been solved. I'm not saying that, food prices haven't gone up. Of course they have. I've seen it. We've all seen it. Prices for everything have inflated. The point of this is just to say that they have not inflated year over year nearly as much as what the government numbers seem to suggest. And I think going forward, we're going to see more like 2%, 3% inflation at the most. Anyways, let me know in the comment section down below. Do you think my analysis here is accurate? And do you, like me, believe that the Fed needs to stop raising rates as soon as possible because the inflation job is done, in my opinion? For a free 7-day mini course on achieving financial freedom through investing in the stock market, check out the link in the description down below. I'll email you one video per day based upon the wisdom of legendary investors like Warren Buffett and a surprising nugget from a janitor who built an $8 million portfolio. So if you're interested in that, check it out in the description down below. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.